Hello people of the earth and welcome back to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike and this is Dead Cells, a game I got from a friend. He told me it's a great game, it just got out of an early access and I had a night to play it before he takes the account back, essentially. So I've played it a little bit. It's a roguelike in which you, like you would in a roguelite, unlock all kinds of elements. There's so many things to talk about, but let's try to figure out it slowly. So, twin daggers, duplex bow. Let's go with twin daggers, for example, and the shield. Okay, so you play as a character that is essentially a cell occupying a dead body, which is a very weird way to think about it, but it makes perfect sense in regards to the why do you keep resurrecting. Every time you die, you start from the same position in the same prison, and your goal is essentially to leave the prison, make all the way to the palace and kill the king, right? That's your goal. The way you accomplish that is you try to get through these levels as quick as you can, and you're trying to acquire all kinds of stuff that will help you get there along the way. You can use all kinds of weapons and armors, right? You can armors. Not so much armors, but you can use shields, bows, throwing daggers, traps, crossbows and fucking bows, like all kinds of things. There's so many things that you can use. And these things scale with the attributes that you increase along the way. Like, for example, take a look at this. I have right now Twin Daggers 1 and Cudgel 1, right? 1 is the level of the item. The maximum level of the item I was able to find is 7. The color of the item, so red for Twin Daggers and the green color for Cudgel, illustrates the skill that it relies on. At the bottom left corner of the screen, you have red, purple, and green, which represent the skills that you can increase in the game, right? Red is all about brutal damage, purple is all about cleverness and tactics, and green is all about survivability, right? So typically you would use red for swords and things like that. You would use purple for things like traps and all kinds of contraptions and magic, and you would use green for shields and such stuff like that. So every time you increase these attributes, you not only increase the maximum health of the character, which is very humble at the moment, but you also increase the damage that you deal with all of these items and abilities, which means that specializing your character is very important. There's so many cool things to specialize. This is not my first time playing the game, but I'm still very much bad at it. Well, just got hit. But the last time I played the game, I used a build that was heavily reliant on traps. So I would specialize heavily in Purple Tree, in tactics, right? And I would throw traps whenever I would go and use bow to deal damage beyond that. So I would use all kinds of effects that bleed the enemy and burn the enemy. And what's even more interesting is that you can amplify your damage against this certain... Ooh. Do I want to replace my stuff? Automatically targets nearby and ignores shields. Huh. Yeah, I would replace that, to be honest. I'm not sure what I'm gonna level up yet. I didn't have the... Oh, I cannot sell it. I didn't have the opportunity to figure out what I'm gonna level up yet, so... Right. And so, as you try to specialize, you begin to understand things that work better for you and things that work worse for you, right? And another interesting aspect of this game, as it is unlike to the other Metroidvania games, is it highly rewards speed of the player, right? It's not some kind of like a fringe case or something where you're rewarded for being quick. You're rewarded for being quick generally everything. That's why you have the time at the bottom left, the bottom right corner of the screen. You have the timer, and the quicker you complete the missions, the more is the chance that you will reach the secret doors and get bonus blue cells that you can see me spending here. The cells I spend on all kinds of stuff, they allow me to unlock new weapons and armors. They can shields, right? New swords, new cudgels, new shields, new crossbows, new spells, like all kinds of things, right? And once I unlock them, they become part of the core game, so I can find them anytime I play the game again. I also unlock all kinds of perks, so the perfect game, right? It would be played when you would unlock all these things, and by that point you would be able to continue sinking the cells that you find into the smith that needs thousands of cells to increase the rarity of items that you find. Oh, there you go, that's the helper of the smith. Helper of the smith allows you to reforge and improve the quality of your items. So let's go ahead and... Okay, I think we can go for a red build here. Let's upgrade the infantry grenade to the higher rarity and watch how the stats will change. Boom. Higher damage, inflicts... Okay. Now it's dealing more damage to a burning target. We can also reforge modifiers if we wanted to, but we're not going to do it quite now. Let's do this one too. Okay, so it deals more damage. And shoots an arrow upwards. Great, so I can now deal with flying enemies as well. I don't have to bother with that. Perfect. See how it is. So this is the Smith's Helper. He allows you to reforge your items and upgrade them. So this game is a lot more RPG than it is a Metroidvania game, but it's also a very big part of the game as well. So this is the mutations. Mutations are your perks, essentially. Right now I have no perks, and depending on the way I want to play the game, I can pick different perks. Like, I can pick combo, fireworks technician. You can read the descriptions, right? I don't have to tell you. But for example, combo will work better when I have more of the red skill, right? When I level up my red skill. The blue or tactics mutations will work better when I have more tactics, and survival more when I have survival. So let's go ahead and try to build something interesting. Let's go ahead and take combo for starters. Combo is really good for a red build character because it allows you to quickly cut through enemies, kill one, and you keep killing them for, you know, with largely unopposed, and continue to the toxic sewers. There's not a lot of levels in the game, but they're highly randomly generated. They're generated with blocks, right, that you can kind of recognize, but they're always kind of different. You get all kinds of new items, so the replayability is really high, to be honest. Like, you can play this game again and again and again. I don't think you will get bored really soon. At least I didn't get bored. I've been playing this game for 5.5 hours now straight, and the only thing is I'm frustrated at is how shit I am at the game, you know? It's really demanding, you have to play well, you have to react quickly to the things, but honestly, the game is not fucking with you, it's not really cheating, right? There's no opportunity, situation where I was like, oh my god, the game is just cheating, or, you know, it's just not communicating with me or something like that. There's never something like that. It's most of the times like, okay, game shows you what's going to happen. You have very short time window to react to this, to dodge the attack or try to do something else or get out of the way, right? And if you don't, you get severely punished, much like you would in Dark Souls or something. So in many ways, this game is kind of a hybrid between the hard Dark Souls and, let's say, Castlevania games. Something like, well, the last Castlevania game I played was on Nintendo DS. It's been quite ways off. I think it was Aria of Sorrow, or another variation of that game. That was pretty good games. But sometimes they get out, like Dex I played, but I didn't play enough of it, and I don't think Dex was Metroidvania. This one is like, I don't even know what to compare it with. It's kind of like Rogue Legacy combined with Metroidvania. Like, it's a very interesting game. It's surprisingly unique, even within the same genre, right? While also surprisingly well made. It uses pixel graphics, but let it not scare you. Look at the smoothness of the frames, right? It's really, it plays really fucking well, right? And to add to this, the animations are really smooth, satisfying, etc. I just found something valuable. So, yeah. So you use the cells and gold that you find to purchase all kinds of things for you. I still didn't find a single skill point, which is bizarre. And the way you find them, you find this skill scrolls, which you're then able to invest. Ooh, I'm really wounded now. I'm gonna walk away and use my potion to heal up. The big problem here is my weapons and armor, my weapons and grenades are really good, but my stuff is awful. My skills are awful. So my stuff is good, but it's not amplified by my abilities, right? And I didn't find a way to level up my abilities yet, which is really unfortunate for me. This is why it's such a struggle to get through these enemies, which should be pretty simple. There you go. Every time an exclamation mark raises above an enemy's head, it means they're about to attack you. And you have the time to dodge or parry. A perfect parry with a shield causes the enemy to recoil in pain and deals a lot of damage to him, as well as grants you a stun on the enemy. Makes it so that you completely take the initiative in your own hands. While a block, while you're holding down the block button, only allows you to reduce the damage that you receive, but not negate it completely. So again, there's like reward for playing more risky, but that's, you know, if you fuck up catastrophically, right? You don't fuck up partially, so to speak. So there's more, there's definitely a lot of skill involved in playing oh, there you go, we found the scroll. This one is a little bit limited. Usually you would be able to choose brutality, tactics, or survival, but right now we're limited to tactics or survival. Considering that I have very little hit points, right, and considering most of my items are red, right, you can see my first, that's what the arrows show me which items I would be upgrading with the skills. So I don't really want to pick tactics right now, so I want to pick survival because it gives me more hit points. My hit point bar grows, it increased by 60%, that's a lot. And now I won't be able to die quite as easily. But my damage is still pretty pathetic, so I need to find another scroll. And if I can do that, I will be in great shape. But we'll see. We'll see how lucky I get. I think I'm dying here. Whoop. Okay. That would be awkward if I die here. Because, yeah, there you go. I'm gonna record this again. Fuck that. Actually, I don't even have to stop. I can just go ahead. And that's what it is, right? See, I played it for 5.5 hours and I just as easily died in 10 minutes. Maybe by getting a little bit unlucky. Maybe by just playing a little bit poorly, you know? But whatever. But the thing is, unlike other Metroidvania games that I played, this game doesn't actually, there you go. These items are the items that you unlock in the game, see? The empty jars are the ones that you didn't unlock yet. See how many there are? It's just fucking numerous, right? I unlocked a couple of healing potions, a couple of bows, a bit of gold is remaining after I die. It's all kind of stuff, right? And I just unlocked maybe, what? Maybe 20% of all the items, and it's been 5 hours of gameplay, right? I think it's a really good value for your money. Okay, what do we have here? Electric whip, greedy shield. So let's go ahead and play through. I never tried blood sword actually. Let's go ahead and try to play with the shield now. I'm gonna try to show you the way the shielding mechanic works. It's really interesting. Okay, so there. Oh, I fucked it up, and I took full damage from the attack. Let's see again. Okay, I didn't fuck it up, but I did a partial block, right? I didn't do a parry. I did a block. Blocks are worse than parry, but, you know, in a pinch, they are much better than taking full brunt of enemy damage. Like this. Really? He avoided the attack? That's some kind of a bug. He should have been hit. He was definitely closer than the door was. Sometimes you stun the enemies, some abilities and some grenades stun enemies. Oh, speaking of grenades and abilities, right? There's all kinds of stuff that is working in different ways. Like, for example, grenades synergize well with other grenades. Traps synergize well with other traps. You can't do a jack of all trades and expect he's gonna work well. I think, generally speaking, I don't think there is a class that is a jack of all trades that would work very well, to be honest. Okay, great. Oh shit. These guys are fairly easy. They throw these grenades, but when there's many enemies on the screen, it's very difficult to anticipate every move they do. When you fight 1 or 2 enemies, it's really fucking easy, right? But when you fight, let's say, 3 or 4, like this, it's much more difficult to anticipate. There you go. Got a golden tooth. That's a perk of our shield. Every time we parry or blocked attacks, we get a tooth. Like this. That didn't help. Let's drink a potion now. Oh, these guys are really frustrating. It's also interesting that a lot of enemies, like, there's a lot of enemies in terms of variety, right? And not every enemy is universally vulnerable to different tactics, right? So, for example, traps are better against certain types of enemies, whereas, let's say, fire, Molotov cocktails are better against other types of enemies. There's no universally good tactic. But you know what? From the time I played, I found that traps are exceptionally powerful for some reason. I don't know if I'm playing well with them or they're broken, but they felt stronger than other types of equipment. And I honestly, kind of forgot how to play with a sword. I was using a Molotov cocktail in combination with throwing knives for bleeding down. Oh, that's a merchant. Let's go there. Let's first grab this business. Let's grab a bit of money here. It's gonna help us buy more stuff. And see if we can buy anything valuable. The amount of variation in this game is actually quite absurd for the game of this genre. It reminds me of the game Unepic. And again, Unepic was a great game, right? But this is even better, because it's Unepic at the end, like, it comes to an end eventually, right? You keep progressing until you reach the climax, right? And the territories that you've discovered before, you don't want to go through again. It's the biggest problem with Castlevania, Metroidvania games, right? You go through territories, you explore them and kill the bosses, and you never want to return. Oh, there you go. A gold door, infantry bow. I like that one. But I also wanted to show you the shield, right? Well, whatever, I'm gonna disenchant it and see what the merchant has to offer. There you go. So, powerful grenade, a trap, an infantry grenade. We're kind of going for... We could go that. We can go a red and green build. That could work. That's a big grenade. It makes a massive explosion, but it has a fairly high cooldown. But there is a perk that can decrease the cooldown. I still haven't found a single perk. A single skill point, which is bizarre, to be honest. Do I want to search for a little bit more? Yeah, I do, honestly. Because I will just go ahead and... Oh, there you go. That's a skill book. That's a universal skill book. You can select anything you like. So we're gonna select red now. We're going for red and green, but we're going to select red because we want higher damage. Now pay attention to how the sword damage changed, right? Even though the item remains the same, the grenade and sword now deal a little bit more damage. But it's going to be a really big difference when you have very high points in scaling, right? Right now it's very humble, right? But later, when you have like 20 in strength, in brutality, it's going to be a really big difference. This is a treasure chest. Usually contains a very valuable item. We got another grenade. Fantastic. It scales with red or purple. We have higher red value, so it scales with red automatically. The higher value takes precedence, and now we have a grenade that deals damage and grenade that freezes our enemies. If we take a perk for grenades, we're going to be in excellent shape now. It's actually really... Oh, perfect. Let's go for another... We can go for another red, or we can be a bit more conservative and go for a green one to get more HP. That's what I want to do. I want to be a little bit more beefy so that, you know, every damage point that I take is not as catastrophic to my HP pool. And I think it's... all kinds of lore there. And a lot of this lore is basically connected to this being some kind of prison. You can pause if you want to read that, obviously. And... basically, some kind of disease quickly spreading through all of it. I have no idea what's happening, and I don't know why our character is so interested in helping this realm, so to speak. Our character is essentially some kind of, I don't even know how to say it, some kind of creature, you know? Some kind of cell that occupies dead bodies, and so you can never die. That's the reason why you can never die. In Rogue Legacy, for example, the logic behind all this was... Oh, fire grenade. Huh. Do I want a fire grenade or a powerful grenade? Shit, that's a lower tier. I don't think I'd want it. That would be a great pick otherwise. So see, even grenades are different. There's all kinds of combination and styles you. For example, why would you want to select a fire grenade? Well, fire grenade is more about bleeding the enemy as opposed to dealing catastrophic damage up front, like right now, see? 2 grenades completely obliterated this fall. But a fire grenade wouldn't deal as catastrophic damage up front, but it would bleed the enemy. Bleeds are essentially extremely... Oh, look at this. This is the entrance to the other dungeon, right? The entrance on the left is to the promenade of the condemned, whereas the toxic sewers is the entrance to the other location. Let's go ahead and go to the promenade of the condemned so I can show you a little bit of the other layout. That's a different level. They are both different levels which have different layouts, different tile sets, different things, and they have unique enemies on them as well. But what's more important is that they have different bosses too and different benefits to completing them, right? So even if you play, let's say excuse me, I hit the microphone. Even if you play for just a couple of hours, you can go ahead and change the level that you go to. Let's go ahead and try to unlock the broadsword. By spending cells, you don't have to spend them. You don't have to buy the item completely. You can just invest the cells and unlock the item later. And the logic in that is that you want to always spend your cells, because if you die, you lose all of them permanently, right? So every time you die, it's a catastrophic loss for you if you weren't able to spend your money, so to speak. So let's take a look what we can do with the ice grenade. We can add the plus quality, which basically makes it legendary. Oh, that's bad. That's a little bit too dramatic. More damage inflicted on enemies, but more damage taken as well. That's a little bit too crazy for my liking, to be honest. Let's go ahead and change it. So nice. Victims burn. We can also upgrade that. We can upgrade this. Do I want to? Yeah, let's go. A swarm of biting worms crawls from your victims. Don't like it so much. Victims freeze other enemies for 2 seconds. That's fantastic. So the primary target would freeze when I kill him. The target, it will freeze the other targets. Plus 30% damage to a bleeding target. That's, it's not really good. Victims burn. Yeah, I like that. So you have powerful grenade, and then victims also burn. So you see, there's a lot of depths. And this was only, look at this, right? These are only items of tier 1, tier 1, tier 2, tier 2, right? These are pathetic items. Better items have a lot more depths to them. So now that we have 2 grenades, let's go ahead and take Fireworks Technician. Now it gives me minus 37% cooldown. Now watch this. Efficiency and Fireworks Ignition have the same percentage at level 1. However, as I increase my brutality, as I increase my red stats, I will increase the percentage of cooldown. It is fairly easy to get your cooldown to 50, 60, and even 70%, right? So you want to take these perks that match you in your prioritization, right? There are also perks that are universal. Like, for example, if you look here, check it out. If you look here, there are general mutations like increased ammo on dead inside that gives you increased HP, right? Those are not reliant on your survival tactics or brutality levels, but they're not scaling also. They give you a flat bonus that is okay and nice, right? But it doesn't scale. The perks that scale can be catastrophically more powerful when the time passes, right? So the next perk I would like to take would be the other brutality perk. And now, for damage's sake, I would like to focus on on red, right? On brutality. Also, my next goal is to replace my shield with a shield that scales with brutality, or a shield that has no color. The colorless items scale with the highest skill that you have. So, again, see, I'm talking for 20 minutes and there's still things to talk about this game. Honestly, I really like this game, and when I'm done with This Is the Police, I would like to make some content on it. If I get better at it, then I don't know what it is. Then my medicine kicking in and just fucking destroying my face, or me being shit at it, but it's really hard. So this is a timed door. This door was sealed 2 minutes and 54 seconds ago. Now, if I would come here 3 minutes ago, I would be able to come inside and take a bunch of loot inside. See? Playing faster is actually directly rewarding. It's more cost efficient to play faster. But if you're playing poorly, there's no reason to rush and die. There you go. Neither of them is really good for me. But I will take the one that gives me more HP, right? So in this case, tactics. There would be another argument to take green one instead, because my shield scales with green stuff. So at least my shield would scale with that. Ooh! It's so inert, Jesus. I need to replace the shield. There you go. Ooh. Nice, I parried. Did you see that shit? I parried the attack completely and I took the initiative in my hands. If you learn to play this game well, it will be visible, you know? It's going to be visible. Oh my goodness. Nice. So, since it's anything, right? I want to pick up brutality because it's the one I'm focusing on. It would be really stupid for me to do otherwise, because I can always level up other skills. But the skills that are important for me, the brutality in this circumstance, it increases my damage, and increasing damage is very, very important so that your items are more effective. Otherwise, you will have to spend so much time killing the enemies, and it will be actually a miserable experience, you know? You don't want that to happen, so you always want to focus on one of the skills, and you want to build your character around that skill, you know? Otherwise, you're going to be in a lot of pain and a lot of trouble. Oh, that's a merchant. Again, a whole bunch of stuff. See, those weapons are higher tier, but unfortunately we spent so much money we cannot. It probably was a dumb idea, right? I ran out of money and now I cannot upgrade my perks, my abilities, and I'm kind of lost there. But, you know, whatever. There's always choices to make, right? And the argument could be made, if I didn't upgrade my sword, I would be in a lot more trouble right now, right? So, there you go. Maybe I lose these items right now and pick something better later, because there's still plenty of time to find stuff. Besides normal fights and normal enemies and normal locations, right, there are also fairly stagnant boss fights that have the same bosses that don't really change a lot, which you have to learn to fight well, or, you know, your life is going to be miserable. The first boss took me so much time to defeat. They are fairly predictable in the way they fight, but they're also fairly hard too, because they hit hard, they have fairly telegraphed moves again, but it's not like they're easy to kill, you know? They're not weak in any sense. Body, perfect. Jeez, I'm getting good. I'm getting good. And a lot of this game is actually just try and again, you know? It's very fast-paced, very quick game to play, and right now, honestly, the reason I'm dialing so much on this single level is because I'm talking to you. You know, it's very hard to play well when you talk, when you commentate on that, but if you play on your own, you'll quickly realize that there's no time to waste as you try to move as quickly as possible through the different locations, as you try to beat the timer, first of all, to get more loot, and as you try to get as much good stuff as possible before the final confrontation of the, essentially, king, right? Whoop. There you go. There you go. We need to break this thing that buffs them, or we will never be able to move to them. There you go. That was a waste of the grenade, but... Oh, they're stunned by the grenade explosion. Crazy. Okay, and having so much HP. Remember when I started, I only had 100 HP, right? Now I'm a fucking beast. Look at me. I have good weapons and armors. I took so many hits there by being awful, and I'm still alive, right? But thing is, if you play better than me, you can use stuff that amplifies your damage, but also increase the damage dealt to you, because you don't give a shit, right? If you use these items, the the punishment will be greater, but so is the reward, because you can just cut through the enemies immediately. I don't think you can play the game really quickly without using those items. I think it's a big struggle to breeze through the game without using items that amplify your damage catastrophically. So essentially, at the end of the day, you will be forced to make a decision. Powerful Grenade 2 or Powerful Grenade 2, right? Arrows stuck on enemies. Come back. That's useful, but I'm not an archer. It's a good grenade, though. And this one? Greed Shield. Attacking just after parry inflicts plus 300% damage. Yeah, that's a good one. I can use this one. It's basically like my shield, but better. So, if I parry attacks, you see the reward, right? If I time my parry at exactly the moment when the enemy attacks me, I will be able to get catastrophic attack right after. Let's go ahead and try it. Okay, I fucked it up. I tried though. Let's try with this one. There you go. Oh my goodness, I tore him to pieces. The fucking damage took 75% of his HP. See what I mean? So there's a lot of depth and a lot of simple things, really, because it's at the end of the day, it's like an RPG platformer slasher, right? It's not something extremely complicated. But what you try to make of your character is extremely important, because if you fuck up your character build, there will be very little room for you to make mistakes. But if your character build is very good and things amplify and synergize with each other, like let's say you use Molotov Cocktail, right? And it sets people aflame, right? It sets enemies ablaze. If you use stuff that increases the damage against the enemies who are ablaze, right? You can synergize your other weapons. Nice. What a party, dude. What a clutch party. Let's say again. I'm so fucking good at this game. Look at this shit. And so can you be. Oh, by the way, again, full disclosure, you know I've been making a couple of promotional videos. This is not one of them. Nobody pays me to make that, right? So I genuinely like this game. I think it's a great game. I mean, I'm not surprised so many people play it. But right now it came from the early access, and I'm a bit allergic to early access, unless it's like a very specific circumstance. Like, for example, the last game I played in early access was RimWorld. I really liked that one. But generally speaking, I think playing early access games is kind of like a torture to yourself. Next one is Ramparts. I think it's a good time to end, because the video, I could record it forever, but the boss is still very far off, so I think I showed the main concepts of the game. Let's go ahead and spend my cells. Here, unlock the broadsword. Let's see if it's any useful. If it's useful at all. Oh, there you go, it's tier 3. Let's see if it's better than mine. Yeah, it doesn't deal... Oh, it shoots an arrow in front of me too. I think I really like it. I really like it. Let's see. Oh, shit. Oh yeah, it's very inert. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna stick with my sword because it's much faster. And this one I will recycle for gold and see if I can spend this gold on something more useful. Invest the rest of my money. Oh, the health flask is so expensive though. Oof. What do I want then? I would want something like... I would try Assassin's Dagger. I like the idea of that. If you flank the enemy, you stab him for critical damage. I really like that. What can I reforge here? Maybe I should hold off on reforging and save my money to buy something valuable. There you go. Now I'm gonna take combo because I'm focusing on red. But I could also take Dead Inside, let's say. So, Igdar Orus Liox can only be taken on the first... slowdown. Igdar Orus Liox. Y-O-L-O. You only live once. Okay, Jesus. What I mean, you can only take it as a first perk apparently. Interesting. Okay, so let's take combo. I like that. That's the way I'm gonna continue. Refill my potion, restore my HP, and continue. This particular, how to say that, checkpoint base, you encounter every time you complete a level or a sub-level, and you also visit it before you start fight with the boss. So it's a very valuable and useful place that allows you to replenish before you start the next level. Allows you to spend your resources as well. Super valuable, super useful. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and listening. I hope you liked this one. Try this game for yourself if you have the opportunity, and have a fantastic time. I'll see you soon.